And so I'm going to enter and we're going to hit C. All right. So I'm going to give you a little GPS of where we're headed today. The lesson objective, this is our roadmap. By the end of our lesson, you should be able to explain what operations is, explain the importance of it. You'll also should be able to give some examples of operational leadership and explain some of the competencies and career paths. So we'll be covering pretty much those things in our short time together. But you'll be able to continue to develop on these themes and ideas all throughout the program as you continue. And you've already had some introductions to what the competencies are so far. So a lot of, in the end, will be a reminder of where you've been. All right, so now we're going to enter into Mentimeter. And this is your first time to participate with Mentimeter, so get your links ready. Please share, what is the first thought that comes to mind when you hear operations? Manager, backbone, really good. Management. Very good. Responsibility, career, planning. Really good. Responsibility, career, process. Awesome. Planning, lead. The names keep changing as I'm looking at it. So if I repeat anything, please forgive me, but I'm looking. Background, work processes. Anything else? Staff rotation. Very good. Direction, team, workflow management. Love that. Staff rotation. I think I said that already. Workflow. Awesome. Direction, leadership, departments. Yes, wonderful. Maybe a couple more might come in. Trying to think, how many are we on the chat? Very good. I think everything, yeah. Backbone, manager, team, organization, department, wonderful. These are all really great. Responsibility, wonderful. Really love that as well. Productivity and targets. Awesome. Really good. Really, really good beginning. All right, so let's get specific. Let's see if it made any other changes. But yeah, oh, heart. Oh, I should heart that. That was really awesome. And control. Those are kind of the actual people. Yes, I'll touch base on people. Wonderful. All right. Great. So this is the working definition that we have for operations in our context. But operations is the administration of business practices to create the highest level of efficiency within an organization, but the highest level of efficiency possible. So here there's a aspirational piece to that. Any business organization that creates or sells a product or provides a service has some sort of operation. So anything that we've seen as a consumer, everything that we see as we interact in our world, in the world of commerce, all of that is with a foundation of operations. I'm a big fan of Costa Coffee when I travel. And so even an example of going into a coffee shop, when you go into it, you go in for your coffee morning run. For those who like coffee, you walk in, and what do we see? We see a barista, we see some pastries, we see coffee machines, we see a variety or even a touch screen to be able to do your order. Behind the simple interaction of just ordering a cup of coffee is a sophisticated operation system. And what do I mean by that? For this particular business, Costa Coffee, it's supply chain operation, right? So the coffee beans are sourced throughout various countries. It's roasted in regional facilities. It's distributed over 4,000 stores worldwide and has 10,000 away from home locations. So then we think about inventory operations. Each store needs to know what they need, right? How much milk, how much coffee, how much tea, how much food to order on predictive analysis, right? How many people are going to come when's our busy season? What does that look like? Workforce operations, scheduling, people, right? We mentioned people, time management, people management. I think those are things that came through. Each store scheduling systems that optimize labor costs while ensuring customer service, making sure we have the best quality service possible. Technology operations, whether you can order on your mobile phone if they have that, payment processing, and then quality. Every drink follows a precise recipe and timing standards. So when we buy that 5-pound latte, it represents thousands of operational decisions working in harmony. So it's not just a cup of coffee, it's really thousands of little minute decisions that are made in that experience. So when we think about what is involved in business operations, I want you to imagine it's just kind of a beginning, an A to Z, A to B scenario where we have an input and we have outputs. And so when we begin with inputs, it can be anything and everything from equipment to customers, transportation, facilities, staff and labor, material suppliers. So a lot of the words that you talked about fit in those categories of operations. What does that look like? Kind of in those categories. And then our output is, what are we doing? What's our product? What's our service? What's our thing? What are we doing? Products and services, warehouse and storage, distribution, cost and revenue, customer satisfaction, or the why we're doing it, right? Cost control, or our bottom line. And in the middle is operations. This is really what gets us from our input to our output. And the input or the operations include inventory, planning and scheduling, quality control, supply chain, process design and strategy, process implementation, and process improvement. So on Monday, I asked the group if they wanted an example of how to kind of imagine what does an input, output, operations process look like. And so I have a restaurant example and I have a warehouse fulfillment center example. So if you want a restaurant, put an R in the chat. If you want a warehouse example, put a W. We'll see who wins. And that will be the example we'll do today. W. Ooh, restaurants. That was our first one. We didn't get any on Monday. Warehouse. Oh, 2 restaurants. I think W's winning with a landslide, but we'll, yep, I think. Oh, we got 3. So yeah, still not going to make it. All right, I think the audience has spoken. We're going to use a warehouse example. Thank you, guys. So when we think about a warehouse scenario, fulfillment center, what are the types of inputs that we're dealing with? And some of the equipment, when we think about it's not just scanners and conveyor belts, but it's the robotics, the sorting systems, even the climate control that keeps packages safe, right? So there's even a company called Schneider. They're about electricity, and they're really focused on climate controlling like every piece of the environment of your workspaces to be able to do that. So those are also really important in keeping our packages safe. Staff and labor. Every one of you, plus the maintenance teams, the IT support, the safety coordinator, probably every person that is in a facility and even behind the scenes in a corporate office are all part of the puzzle in that staff and labor area. When we think of materials, we think of the millions of products, but also boxes, tapes, labels, even safety equipment. So even the pen, if you go into a room and there's a pen on the desk that we've purchased, there's a material. These are things that we are thinking about, all that's needed for the materials that we have. And when we think of suppliers, we think of the thousands of sellers shipping products to your fulfillment center. And so it just continues to get really, really big. When we go into the operations piece of it, we have in process design, we think about how Amazon had figured out the most efficient way to move from products to receiving to shipping. So it's a lot of process flow, process management. How do we get from A to Z? Quality control. Every scan you do, every quality check, every safety protocol you follow. So sometimes those processes and things seem mundane and routine, but they really do impact what's happening, and they're part of everything that we need to do. And the voices keep coming in. You guys are awesome. And inventory management, the sewing, picking the cycle that keeps everything accurate. And so what does it look like to manage our inventory, manage our quality, and look at our process design? Ultimately, the output in this particular scenario is that we're wanting to have products delivered on time and undamaged, right? That's one of the goals. Customer satisfaction, that brings them back. Ultimately, who receives the product that we're doing is the customer, so that they come back in order to get our bottom line, which is revenue that keeps Amazon growing and keeps our jobs secure, right? We're all in this together. If you're a Disney fan, there's a song from High School Musical, we're all in this together. There's a song that's coming in my head, but every piece, every part plays a role, and it has huge impact. I said that I grew up in Canada, but I lived in Florida and have been to Disney many, many times. And Walt Disney or Disney World is one of them. It's one of the most fascinating operations examples that you could think, because their end result is a customer experience. So you're the guest, right? So you're not supposed to see how everything's working. And they have a system of underground tunnels to keep all their inventory, people moving underground, so you won't see the person who really is Tiana getting into her spot or any of the things. They just have they have over 58,000 employees, and they're underground tunnels so that you never see anyone in the wrong area. Their ultimate, their ultimate goal is that customer experience. All right. I believe. Nope. Is this me? Oh, then I go back. Just a second. I think I might have. Let's go there. We were there. And then we're here. Awesome. So when we think about the companies with large business operations, clearly the one we all work for. When you think of companies, can you think of what companies can you think of are likely to have large business operations units? You can drop them in the chat a little bit. I'll share the chart. Oh, someone put a GIF of High School Musical. You're so cute. Thank you. What companies can you think have huge operations? See, several people are typing. Amazon, DPT, DHL, Cars, Microsoft, Apple. Awesome. Amazon, Microsoft. Great. I love that you're reaching all different kind of industries. That's amazing. All right. I'll wait a second or two before I reveal some of them. Microsoft, keep them coming. All right. Some of the companies with the largest or large business operations that we'll cover. Of course, you can see Amazon's there, Walmart, Microsoft was written, Google, Apple. Awesome. You guys picked that one as well. Tesla, but there's so many more when you think of operations having to do with getting inputs with the outputs, the process of getting your products and services out there. This list can be and probably is endless. And so wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. All right. Now, I believe now I have a question for the group. I would love to hear, in which of the following roles do you think most Fortune 100 leaders start from? Good. Operations leadership, engineering, sales and marketing, finance, sales and marketing, lead operations, sales and marketing, operations. Oh, sales and marketing. It's going to be a tight finish. We'll see who's going to win at the end. All right, any more? Awesome. All right, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys the answer. I still have a couple more. And the correct answer is, did it show correctly? No. No. There you go. Operations leadership, believe it or not. It sounds crazy to think this is where most CEOs, Fortune 500 companies have come from, are from an operations leadership background. Surprisingly, operations was a functional starting point for most of the Fortune 100 CEOs, with 25% of them beginning their careers in an operational role. So to think your future is bright if you continue on this route, which would be amazing. And so people like, I'm gonna go back here just a little bit. So people like Tim Cook from Apple, he started at an operations leadership position with IBM. We have Mary Barra from General Motors, and she began as a plant manager and worked her way through operational roles. And even the CEO of Microsoft, he started in cloud services. And so it's just amazing to see where you can take this career, how you can grow because you really do get a wonderful view of how the company, how the business is run. There's a lot of skills that you'll be learning: strategic thinking, decision making, planning, all of those things really do come out of that. Some examples from the big players that we have on the bigness of their operations. For example, Tesla. I've ridden in a Tesla. It's an example shared on Monday. It's a really foreign experience. It really does feel like a spaceship. And so you would think a company is just going to be making cars. But they had an interesting challenge where they not only had to focus on manufacturing the vehicles, but because their vehicles are so unique, they really had to create charging networks, developing the software. It's a computer that's really running the car. And then also managing energy storage systems and having their operations leaders coordinate this vehicle and network all throughout the world in energy simultaneously. And so really it's transcending multiple disciplines, even within, you would think, what would be a traditional automotive industry. So really, really great examples of operational excellence at your fingertips. So another question for you is, true or false? Does business operations exist in almost every medium, in every company doing some type of business? This is true. Overwhelmingly, yes. If you want to understand how a business really works, operations is the best education you can get. Wonderful, wonderful. All right. Trying to think what the next one is. I believe, yes, another mentee question. Image in your mentee, have you held a position within operations before? And if so, where? This will kind of give me an idea of some of your background. Nope, no. Eaton, yes, worked for Suzuki more than 3 years, no leadership position. Have to scroll down, just an operation assistant in the Middle East, process guide. Oh, someone worked at Walt Disney, team leadership, an operation assistant, proxy leadership, small teams and live events, previous jobs, manufacturing, proxy for team, no official position. Awesome. Really, really good. Really good. So weird. Wonderful. So my next question for you is, as we go on this journey, is how do you plan on using skills gained from this course? Moving to leadership ops and the world's my oyster. Love that. Get a manager lead job. Become leadership, begin a career in operations or something business management related. Develop an improvement of skills, applying for roles and going ahead with it. Amazing application of skills gained and learn through current role to help progression. Team leadership, team leadership, team leadership. Amazing. Building confidence. Wonderful. Try to test one by one with confidence, finding balance, great skills, the help in your future in any base role. Wonderful. Moving into leadership in an operations role. Career progression. Very great. Might join a correlation team. That one gets us 5 stars to become a lead. At my university, 1 more year in management, so it's a good way to gain more skills. Wonderful. Yes, upskilling, amazing. Yes, this is a journey. We I'm an avid lifelong learner, so the more opportunities that you can have to learn and grow is amazing. Leadership, career development, and leadership and flow. Really, really, really great. We're hoping that this will be the beginning of the skills that you will need to do to get to where you want to go. Now, the CEOs that started in lower positions in operations that have grown into CEO positions were learned all sorts of skills like systems thinking, crisis management, cross-functional leadership, financial acumen, and customer focus. So these are all things that we can start on mostly all levels to be able to continue and to get a breadth of knowledge and experience with. So I'm excited. I'm excited for you. And yeah, just very, very honored to be with you guys on this journey. Great. And all right, so we're kind of midway through my chat. I'd love to check in and hear how you guys are doing. How do you feel about the content so far? Great. Amazing. It's cool. And familiarity with some of the topics. Wonderful. Great. Okay, I'll keep that up for just a few minutes as we hear from a few more of you. I love that we see that we're building momentum and we get to dive into a little bit more about the meat of operations leadership. So we started a bit with operations, kind of defining what it is, some of the frameworks of it, how some of our up and coming, but our famous CEOs have started from. But we're now adding this component of leadership to operations. Awesome. Very exciting. We're going to go in and we're going to talk about operations and leadership. So this is where I asked a question, but here's where it gets exciting. Operations leadership isn't just about managing process. Although process management is part of operations, it's not what it is. It is about inspiring people to achieve excellence while navigating constant complexity. There's constantly a tension that you're wanting to keep in balance. We'll be doing a deep dive in this next session. So if there's any terms or concepts that are new to you or need clarification, please let me know in the chat or even in questions. And then what we'll do is we'll start with a definition. So operations and leadership, the definition is leadership within operations is critical for optimizing efficiency, ensuring quality, innovation, managing risks, fostering team development, aligning strategies, maintaining customer satisfaction, and enhancing financial performance across an organization. So it's a big mouthful, right? We're going to tackle this down in bite-sized pieces. But yes, sorry, I heard someone. So we're going to tackle this one by one in it, but the definition is all encompassing and quite an exciting challenge. And I say challenge, but wait. Let's go back. All right. I say challenge because let's be honest, what you're signing up for. So I want to be real. There are some challenges, but all challenges are not meant to stop us. They're meant to motivate us and for us to learn and grow from. And so there are 6 areas we've identified as some of the leadership challenges within our operation leadership world. One is complexity management. That's in the definition. Process improvement, resource allocation, risk mitigation, performance metrics, and customer expectations. So as I read some of those, some of you might have gotten excited and like a light might have gone into pay attention to that. If I said the word risk and you're like, ooh, risk, I'm kind of excited about that. Or things about process or improvement. And then that might be a cue of what you're passionate about within the realm of it. But when we talk about complexity management, I'm going to break it down. It really is just managing growing operational complexity during expansion. What does it look like to grow? How do we add the complexities of a business? If we add another revenue stream or we add another product line, how do we manage that? How do we maintain smooth operations while we're scaling, while we're growing? If we go from a 5-person team to a 10-person team, what does that look like? That we balance multiple moving parts effectively. Constantly looking at process improvement, continuously enhancing operations for competitiveness. And so there is always an element of continual improvement, identifying and eliminating inefficiencies quickly, and implementing change without disrupting workflow. So process improvement brings in change management, brings in kind of all these skills that you'll bring in. Resource allocation, some of the words that you brought up, staffing, scheduling, all that, balancing diverse resources strategically. So not just people resources, but thing resources and like light and locations. Focusing on efficiencies and productivity gains, or optimizing resource distribution for maximum impact. And then when we go to risk management, making sure that we are monitoring and mitigating operational risks constantly, addressing supply chain and regulatory changes, and developing robust business continuity strategies. And I know there's a lot of words. I'm sure you'll have this to be able to sit with a little bit more. But then the last two, one is performance metrics. So how are we performing against what we're doing? What are the KPIs? How are we doing activities that align with key metrics with our strategic objectives? So we're not kind of doing idle activity that really doesn't really gain us anything. We're ensuring that our data is accurate for informed decisions, and we regularly evaluate and adjust for performance measures. So it's always looking back and seeing and testing and proving. And if that's exciting to you, performance metrics is there. And then the end is customer expectations. Ultimately, how do our efforts to drive customer satisfaction through our operational excellence? How do we meet quality and deliver standards consistently? And how do we align internal efficiency with external demands? And so all of those challenges are part of the wonderful journey of leading within operations and operational leadership. I think I can go next. So when we think about the why are we here? Why do we do this? Some might think, oh, I don't know. It's another skill that I need to learn. I'm just checking to make sure there's no questions. All right, wonderful. And what are some of the value and benefits of operational leadership? And so there's four main categories. One is culture and team success. Another one is our strategic impact, leadership growth, and operation efficiency. Within culture and team success, fostering a culture of collaboration, accountability, professional growth within our teams, leading to higher employee satisfaction and retention. So this is really the people part, the culture, the how we do things together. The people, I think someone put people in the mentee chat. That people piece is critical. Leadership group. Why are you here? To provide opportunities for professional and personal growth, gaining valuable experience in managing challenges and driving change. We are all parts of this process of our growth. Strategic impact. We play a role in shaping the executing of organizational strategic goals, and you directly contribute to the success of the growth of the organization. And in the end, for last one, operational efficiency. You're part of streamlining processes, optimizing resources, improving operational efficiency, result in cost savings and enhanced productivity. So a lot of these concepts are repeating. Hopefully you've heard that we've touched on these a little bit as we've been going forward. So these are foundational, and they will continue to guide you through going through everything. So an example, as I do a lot of coaching process, helping for people, friends of mine as well. And when I think about operational efficiency, I think about this example. I have as technologically advanced as we are, we spend a lot of time going back and forth on email, trying to set up a meeting, or, well, when can you meet? Well, I can't really on Thursday. I can do it on Friday. Or when can we have this one-on-one, or whatever the situation. Spend a lot of time doing some things, or wasting time trying to do some things, right? Trying to get that meeting. So I was meeting with a friend, and she was frustrated because she was spending probably about 30% of her work week just on email back and forth with clients. And so when I looked at her and I looked at the process, I said, where's your pain point? And we identified this was a pain point. Can't really get assistant, so you need an assistant. She's like, I can't afford one. I said, okay, let's figure this out. And so we looked at her process and I said, "Have you ever heard of Calendly, an automated way to get someone to book a time on your calendar?" She's like, "No, I never heard of it." And it literally cut her workload by 30%. She's not spending as much time on email, and people are getting on her calendar in her available time. And it's just streamlining her workflow. So process, look at ways to improve. What do you see? What's a pain point that you're feeling? How can we figure this out? And how can we make it a little bit more manageable? Wonderful. So when we think about your future and we think about where can you go with operations leadership, so these are some of the work titles or job titles that are associated with it. They can be entry level, management level, all the way up to senior level roles where you can be an operations manager, director, where you oversee daily operations to maximize efficiency and productivity. A business operations analyst, where you're analyzing processes, recommending improvements to optimize operations. Then we move into operations coordinator or process assistant, managing daily activity to support operational projects. Operational specialist, operational team lead, business process analyst, supply chain analyst, as you think about the inputs and outputs, where how do you get things where? And then also quality assurance analyst or manager. How do we make sure that we meet the proper quality control that we need? All right. I believe what I love about a business process person is they're the ones that redesign how work gets done across entire organizations. So your impact is quite um, let's see, there's a couple other ones. Oh, awesome, there's a question. Definite operations manager or flow lead, ops coordinator. Awesome. As you sit with some of these titles, what are the ones that kind of light your fire? Which ones are like, oh, I would love to. If I could, I would. That would be a really great place to start. All right. So right now, I'm going to invite us to do a little bit of reflection. Please spend a couple minutes here. But how would you rate your leadership skills currently? Now, hear me. This is no judgment zone. This is self-awareness is always the first step. Whether you say great leader or never thought about it, we're going to meet you where you are. But then also think about it, which I love to say is like a strength, a stretch, or a struggle. So if it's a strength, right on, it's a strength. If it's a stretch, it's something that you can do, but you probably need to work on it. And if it's a struggle, then this is where we just put some effort into learning some tools, upscaling, pay attention to what we're covering in this course, and then you'll be able to meet the goal of becoming a leader. Awesome. My skills are okay at best. Great. And never thought about it. Quite a few that hasn't thought about it yet. Quite a few confident. In the middle, my skills are okay at best. My hope is by the end of this course, everyone will be in the blue column by the end. Awesome. Any team lead role, special. Wonderful. All right. I think that about covers it. I'm looking at the numbers. I'm going to move to the next question. So started our time together planting the seed on asking you the question on what is your definition of a leader? So in your opinion, what's the definition of a leader? People person, approachable, knowledgeable, a person who makes balance between his or her team and the workflow and maintain good balance of work and relations. Very good. Someone who can make big decisions and inspire others around them. Person who puts a team first. A leader who inspires and guides others towards a shared goal. Awesome. Someone who's very approachable, good listening skills, great people skills, someone who knows the process and can guide everyone else through it in order to achieve a correct outcome, knows their team and their strengths of their team, who convince others to follow, a supporter, mentor, guidance. Really great. Keep them coming. Yes. A person who understands the workflow and maintains the correct way of motivating members and the balance of work. Person in charge of operations at different levels, support within the team and management, someone who can deal with the entire team and motivate to do the job. Very, very good. Power example, respecting all the team members equally, firm and respectful. Someone who takes charge in a situation, has good leadership skill, good organization skills, knows how to lead a team, good skills and knowledge. Awesome. A mentor, someone who you can go to, and a person who leads and manages their team to achieve an objective or a goal, not just by standing by and watching, but joining in and supporting each and every one in the team and beyond. Really love that. I call that an all hands on deck kind of a leader. Person who treats everyone equally, someone who motivates and influences others towards achieving a goal, to support operating, hitting targets, and leading the team and treating everyone as a person, and someone who's willing to do the work they're asking. Awesome. Who leads, motivates, guides his or her team. I think you guys have taken my leadership development class, like listening to all of your input. That's amazing. Lead from the front, not shouting from behind. That's really great. And someone who knows how to work with people and to respect everyone. It's very, very good. I think at one point you'll hear about emotional intelligence. Leader unites people, drives progress, and creates environment where everyone can thrive. These are all amazing characteristics and examples of what your definition of a leader is. These are amazing. Leading a team by example, motivating others to follow. I think I've got everything. Very, 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 very good. Someone who sees your strengths and tries to nurture them. That one. Awesome. All right. I think, wow, you guys are great. This is really, really cool. All right. Next, who is someone you consider to be a great leader? Me. Should I say me or is it you? I'm going to take it as me. No, awesome. My mom. I love that. I'm a mom of five. So I hope all my five will probably put me on their list if they're ever in a class like this. That's so cool. Thomas Sankara, Sir Alex Ferguson. I'd probably think most moms are probably like the ideal operations leaders. If you think about all the things a mom or a parent will tell anyone who runs a team lead who gave our team confidence. Also, my previous manager recognize that the leaders who you have hopefully will be part of the leader that you'll become. So those who you're leading will also say, you have brought me to future. I think we all play part of this ecosystem of continual growth and development for each other. I think that is amazing. Wonderful. Elon Musk and innovation. He came up last week as well. Very, very, very good. Very good. Amazing. There's so many different styles of leadership that we can experience and benefit from and learn from. And I think this is amazing. The one that manages people well. Churchill, Nelson Mandela. Yes, wonderful. I love those quiet leaders. The ones that are leading. They're leaders that lead by influence and not so much by position. So those leaders are also quite important in our world. Luke Truman, Steve Jobs, your leadership. Really, really good. Wow, this is amazing. I say that word a lot, but I mean it. This is really great. All right. Yes. All right. So, with the few minutes I have to spare, we're going to go into, we started the conversation a little bit about the different titles that you could go into. What are the skills that we're going to be developing? But now we're really focusing on you and your development, the purpose of being here together. And there are three competencies that we want to talk about. But this just isn't about learning concepts. It's about building job ready skills. So if you remember some of the skills, those operations leaders that developed into several CEOs had systems thinking, crisis management, cross-functional leadership, financial acumen, customer focus. Those are all some of the things. But there are three competencies that those skills really do kind of roll up into. And those three competencies are, so the operational leadership skills that are crucial for career advancement and success are effective communication, problem solving, and technical proficiency. So this is not the first time you've seen this. So this is just a review of where we're going to be going in this next part of our journey together with the three competencies that we will continue to journey with. And so it was based, this program, as you are experiencing it, is based on data from real world operations leaders, focusing on these three competencies that are most important for skills, the most important skills for any leader within operations to possess. So we together will learn about instruction, real world based practices of each of these competencies. And our hope is that you participate in class, complete the assessment and the activities so that you'll be prepared for leadership roles within business operations. And thank you for putting them in the chat for your reference. So the first one is effective communication. Effective communication centers on the skillful exchange of clear, concise information that matches the recipient's needs, requiring both articulate expression and active listening. So it's more than just speaking. It's making sure that we're understood, making sure that we're clear, that we're thoughtful, open exchanges, both parties. What does that look like? The impact is that it enhances teamwork, which was one of the values and benefits, right? That team collaboration and leadership effectiveness. The hope for your career advancement is that it opens opportunities for managerial and leadership roles. Some of the examples is transitioning to roles requiring communication with diverse teams and stakeholders. So not just a small team, but everyone out. When we think about diverse teams, teams that are geographically diverse, teams that are skill diverse, you're dealing with different departments, and stakeholders. Stakeholders are people that have a stake in what's going on. So it could be a shareholder, it could be a customer, manager, it could be anyone within the organizational structure. And so this part is the problem solving and decision making. Sounds huge, and it is, but it's really fundamental in making sound decisions and setting clear priorities. It involves analyzing information to generate and evaluate potential solutions while simultaneously assessing which task deserves immediate attention based on their urgency and importance. So there are a lot of skills that you learn here. It's processing the information, categorizing it, trying to figure out which one's important, what should I do now, what's urgent, where do we go from here? Together, these abilities enable leaders to tackle challenges strategically and optimize outcomes through focus and purposeful action. The impact is the analytical skills for strategic thinking, innovative solutions, and efficient management. Here, the way for your career advancement is that these are key competency for leadership roles in decision making and risk management. So there's that word risk. So if risk excited you, then this is where we'll camp out for a while. An example is leading critical business initiatives and delivering results under pressure. So having those skills that you can really respond under pressure. You have the tools, you have the know-how, you know what to do to be able to make decisions and solve problems as they come. And the third part is technical proficiency. And this is the ability to solve problems using tools and techniques and systems within the ops leadership discipline. So it includes theoretical understanding, so knowing the what behind and the how, but then also the practical skills in using those tools efficiently. And so mastering different tools and different systems in specialized fields. I'll go a little bit more into that. In the career advancement realm, it's positioned the individuals for roles demanding technical expertise. So this is an upskilling of your technical acumen. Moving into roles that require advanced technical operations or program management skills. So some of those things would be quality control systems, planning software, management system, demand forecasting. There's some finance in there as well. What does that look like? Excel, just all the different tools that you think that are at your disposal really does come into a little bit here for technical proficiency. All right. just going to do a really quick passage to make sure I got everything under what I wanted to say. If you, I put this in the chat last time, but I'll mention it in person here. If you're interested in reading stories, novels of companies that have gone in operational excellence, there's a book called Good to Great that I recommend reading. It's just an operational leadership book that if you're interested in reading, just to kind of see how operational excellence in action, that would be one. And let's see. I think I need to go this way and then go this way. Nope, I'm supposed to go one more. So I'm a lot quicker than I was on Monday. Which is fun. All right, I did have one more here, which are just my hope with the key takeaways. Yes, I will put the book in the chat before I get off, so I'll do that for you, so don't worry. And I'll have the author on it as well. My hope for the takeaways that you have is that you know that there are 3 competencies for leadership: effective communication, problem solving and decision making, technical proficiency, and ultimately the benefits of an operational leadership training includes, or what the benefits of it, your impact to your group, your organization, your world, is strategic impact, its growth, its efficiency, and its team success. And so with that, I'm going to hand it over to you guys or to you all. If you have any questions, this is your time. If there's anything I didn't get to, and I will put the book and the title again in the chat as questions come in. Feel free to use your Menti to put questions in for me if you have any, unless I did an amazing job and you have no questions. But if you have questions later, feel free. Let's see. What do you mean by effective communication? And could you explain it with an example? Very great question. Effective communication is communication that's done effectively. What it really does, it was a really bad joke, but it's effective communication is making sure that our communication is clear. You'll cover that next week in the first module, where there's going to be certain criteria of what makes it effective. It's clear, it's concise, it's courteous. And so there are different things that we need to keep in mind, and keeping in mind who the receiver is. And so we had a question on Monday session: can you communicate effectively if English is not your first language? And my answer was yes and no. Yes, you can, and yes, it can be a challenge, but learning what the receiver needs to know. So I'm an American living in Europe, and when I speak with English speakers here that are mostly not American, I choose to speak with European sensitive terms. So I'll speak more of a British English as opposed to an American English for certain words, because I know my audience. So effective communication is knowing your audience, speaking clear, and making sure what you said was, you seek clarity. And but next week you will get a deep dive into effective communication. Does that cover it? Is that good? All right. Any more questions? All right, I'm going to try to be really quick. Oh, I'm supposed to be out here. All right, any more questions? No more questions? Oh, someone's typing.
I think, Marilyn, you
Last question.
might have to just press enter to mark the question as answered. I think there's a second one that's coming up.
Oh,
yeah.
Thank you. All right. Are there any technique or lifestyle changes that can help someone become a better leader? Absolutely. The journey is my big thing is being curious, at learning to ask really good questions. think when we went back to what made a good leader, someone who knew someone, you knew your staff, they led well, they were able to offer you or encourage you to do something or advance. That's just knowing. So techniques of learning to ask really great questions. It's really becoming a student of people. Communication and curiosity to me is one of the big things. So techniques are, if you want some quick ones, learn to count to 3, allow someone to speak a lot more. Don't be too quick to say anything as you want to draw out information from that. Also learning what your strengths are, what you're really good at, what you need work on, and what you don't do well, and really having a good assessment of your leadership style, how you tend to be motivated or how you tend to work, and then try to make a holistic view about that. So lifestyle changes, and the only under lifestyle changes would just be an avid learner, learning how leadership is done, reading leadership books, stories. Yeah, those are all, and talking about it. Talking about it always works. Like polling your leader, how did you get there? Grabbing someone that you admire, and if they're in a position that you see that you'd love to be, say, hey, can we grab a coffee or tea or chat, and you can just ask their journey questions, and you just kind of learn so much from other people's experiences as well. So I would probably sum that all up to say, cultivate a lifestyle of curiosity. And what does that look like in your learning, in learning from others, and in growing in the things that you need to grow into? All right, so let me see. Oh, I got the hang of it. I saw, there you go. So third one, what percentage of people who completed this training moved into leadership positions, and how much does Amazon value this training? I think I will hand that over to you, Megan.
Yep, I can take that one. Great question. I don't have numbers on me in terms of, you've taken this program, and especially this is the first time we've run this program in the UK. But what I can say is that this curriculum was designed in partnership with Amazon. So they have identified these 3 core competencies that we keep speaking about as competencies and skills that they have identified as important skills to move into leadership positions. Like I said during the program launch, that doesn't necessarily guarantee you anything, but Amazon is aware of this training. They helped us design it, and the goal is for people to be able to move up into leadership positions from where you are right now. You still have to go through that same interview process and interview cycle that you typically would. It doesn't give you, you're not allowed, it doesn't enable you to like cut the line necessarily or get a referral, but it's a training that they recognize and that they themselves help design.
Awesome. I will share, I was reading an article about not disgruntled employees, but what was one of the challenges they had within the corporations that they worked for, is that they did not offer programs for their individual development. And so the fact that you're able to in-house be able to have access to leadership development, furthering your skills, upskilling, says a lot for the organization and for the opportunity for you. And it's not just for, I think I probably can say this, but it's not just for you here, but it's for you forever. You can take it and go, or it's upskilling you as a person to their benefit, hopefully, but to the benefit of the world. So it's that huge global perspective, which is one of the reasons why I really like, and I'm on board with this program, because it has that perspective. So take advantage of all of that for you. Okay, I think I do have 2 more questions. What will be the best way to implement DEI in operations? Based on what criteria will you decide to go ahead? It's a great question. And I have thoughts, but I think those thoughts, okay, I'm an external processor over here, so you'll have to bear with me. I'm going to have to get back to you on that question. So I'm going to confer with Megan. I have to get back to you on that question, and then we'll get back to you. So that question will be answered in the chat or somehow. So Megan, please make a note of this question, and then we'll chat. Okay. Next one. Will we be covering STAR format, interview techniques, and the Amazon leadership principles? I always struggle to think of relevant competencies. That's a Megan question now.
Yep. We will be covering the STAR method. We'll actually have later on in the program an opportunity for everyone to practice interviewing through our skills labs workshops. You'll have a chance not only to learn about it from our lead instructors and our TAs, but also to put it into practice.
Awesome. Next one. Oh no, are you asking us to read the 7 habits again from Stephen Covey? That was actually book number recommendation number 2. So the answer is no, because if you've already read it, then no. But it's one of my favorites. It's one of my favorites, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. So don't knock it. Make a review. So, all right. What's my biggest success stories from running leadership courses? Biggest success stories. I am one of those rare people that I really truly believe that when someone I walk with has exceeded me, that is a success story, right? Because I've journeyed them. And so I remember I was walking with this one leader. He was young, coming in. So one of my experiences is bringing up leaders to be country leaders within Europe. So I was running a region, so I had Spain, Italy, and Portugal. So I was growing a new team in Italy, and really just spent a good year. I created a program very specific, tailored to him and me, and watching how he developed and grew and nurtured the team, and the team literally doubled within a year, and the collaboration that was seen, and it just was growing from zero to nothing, and it just was amazing. That to me, he's kind of one of my favorite. But I'll give you a second one. My very silly one is I work in a bar every so often because I help out friends, and they're not really organized. It's just the bar in Spain. And normally we keep reservations in WhatsApp. And I was like, this is ridiculous. We never keep track on who's coming in. And I remember just printing a paper calendar, putting it on the fridge, and just making a habit of writing all the reservations and everything. So I've since left the job, and I'd go back every so often, and then I didn't see the calendar up there, and I was like, oh, what's going on? And then about a week later, after I did that face or whatever, and I saw a calendar showed up on the thing, and they have now adopted that as part of their practices. And so seeing kind of the influence that you did long since you've left, to me, is one of the biggest stories. You may not experience some of the change right there in front of you, but you might see it a year or two later. It's like when you're with someone, you don't really see the impact right away, but you just continue, you pour out, and you will see success stories maybe years later. You don't know what your impact is, because you're going to be part of somebody's story. So the hope is that you're a good part of that story. So yay, those are one. Okay, one more question. I'm not sure how many questions actually, so I'll just keep clicking. Are there any techniques or lifestyles? Nope, I think we did.
I think we're back. I think we've answered all 7. There's one more question in the Slack live channel. That will be our last question before we take a break, just to be mindful of time. But if anybody has any questions that hit them later, specifically from Marilyn, like feel free. You can reach out on Slack, and we'll get to them either over Slack, or we'll respond to them at the beginning of next week's lecture. But there's one more question in the Slack live chat, which is, how can a learner ensure that important information is understood and not just heard?
All right. How can a leader ensure the important information is understood and not just heard? So my biggest is feedback and coming back to it. A lot of times we stop short in our communication. We'll say something, they may nod, and they may have an acknowledgement, but we never go back to say, okay, here is what I understood that you said. Am I understanding you as a receiver? Or can you talk back to me what I said? Or always asking for that confirmation. There's a book called Crucial Conversations, one of my most favorite resources, but it's just techniques and going back and checking in on making sure that they understood what you communicated, and finding different checkpoints. So some people might use an email. You might send an email resume, or that's not the summary, is the word in English, of what you said or what you did, or expectations. But the biggest thing, how can you make sure that it's ensured and not just heard, is that you hear back from them. What did you hear me say? What do you understand that our goal is? And ask them, what is it? And then you can check for gaps. Is there something that they didn't catch? Is there something that you didn't fully explain? I have a lot of children, so I do this all the time, and I'm like flabbergasted on how many I said something and he heard something completely different. So it's always going back and say, okay, tell me what you heard. What do you understand? and then what's the deliverables. And I also think that, especially if you are expecting something in return, either information or an action, a response, or if you're expecting something back, making sure that you're very clear about, all right, wonderful. I'll expect to hear from you in this many, however, with this information, kind of enveloping that conversation a little bit. All right, as we wrap up, because I'm definitely over, I love to see that many of you are excited to begin this journey. Most of you are all confident on what to expect, which is really great. And I love that you all feel supported, that you have what you need to succeed. So with that, thank you guys so much. I look forward to seeing you in a few weeks when we dive into problem solving, but you will be in great hands for effective communication.
Amazing. Thanks so much, Marilyn. Okay, before we take a break, everyone's going to just see a Zoom poll pop up on their screen. Please just take a moment to respond to that Zoom poll when you see it pop up. Any feedback we get from you guys just helps us make adjustments,